Howdy everybody. I'm in Georgia. I'm in Buford, which is a suburb of Atlanta. And I like to walk a lot, so I decided I'm gonna walk to this lake that's about a 3-hour walk away. And I'm in the suburbs, so it's really hard to walk anywhere, so we'll see what happens. So I'm just going to the hotel now to gear up, and I think I want to grab my headphones, whatever else I might need, use the bathroom. I just had breakfast at this awesome place called Flying Biscuit Cafe. It had like this great authentic Southern food, and it was really good. There's a full-size fridge and a coffee machine. It's a drip one. Got a lot of lamps. Got dishes up there too, as you can see. I've been using them. Painting. 2 beds, but no roommate. Very cool. And a pretty nice window with blackout curtains. Pretty dope, right? But I keep mine open during the day because I like the sunlight. Oh. Anyways, got my headphones, got my ID, room key, debit card in case, and then I'm gonna bring my phone, obviously, and I got deodorant on. Let's go. I forgot my jacket. That's better. It's about 52 degrees Fahrenheit or 11 degrees Celsius right now. So it's not terribly cold, but some insulation is needed to be more comfortable. So the lake is that way. So I don't know exactly how I'm gonna get there. I'll get some navigation going. But for now, I'm just gonna stop at this shell over there and gonna get myself an energy drink, because I like to have a Monster when I walk. They're good. I don't like this hand position. That's better. Okay. So the thing about the suburbs is that it's basically just like a giant parking lot. So usually if I was in the city, I could just say it's that way and I need to go that way and I wouldn't need a map. But the thing about the suburbs is that there's a lot of dead-end roads and cul-de-sacs and things like that. So I could easily get very lost without directions. So that's why I'm going to use navigation. It's one of the things I don't like about the suburbs. They're very unwalkable for a lot of reasons. They're not very safe for pedestrians due to the fact that they're entirely designed for cars, not for people with feet who use their feet to walk. Sorry, I should say legs, because drivers use their feet for pedals. Anyway, that's my little rant. I don't like the suburbs, but that's why I'm trying to get out of them to the lake. Stay hydrated. Don't you hate when the sidewalk just ends? sidewalk is back. Yes. But it's still very optional. Can you believe they just let cars go that way without a yield sign or stop sign or anything? Just a little crosswalk marking. Emerging from like 50 miles per hour into me. You know, I was just thinking, it's so weird how there's such a huge disparity between the gas prices of California and the rest of the United States. Because for me, it's hard to believe that they could sell gas for $3. But then any person I tell from out here, and I've been to Florida and Georgia now, and I've been through Kansas and Texas and Louisiana, and it's hard for them to believe that it could be $5.50 in California while the rest of the U.S. is $3 a gallon. What? Not again. Whew. Oh. That's sharp. You know, my original plan was to see if I could escape the suburbs by walking, but I looked on the map and it was like everything is a parking lot. So instead I'm going to the lake. It's the closest thing I can get to escaping the suburbs and finding some nature, on foot at least. And I don't want to take an Uber. After the other day, I went and hiked up Stone Mountain, which is near Atlanta. It was a beautiful hike. And I then went to downtown Atlanta and explored Peachtree Street, which, if you know Atlanta, is a pretty famous street, I learned. And it costs a lot with all the Uber rides, because I don't have a rental car. So today I'm just walking to the lake and really taking in all the nature. And I think this sidewalk's about to end. Actually, no, it kind of keeps like, it kind of looks like it keeps going. It's interesting. Yeah, you can see like, So this is my first time actually being in Georgia, and my only real exposure to Georgia before this was watching The Walking Dead multiple times. So whenever I see like these woods right here, I just imagine the survivors walking through the woods, limping, trying to make it to shelter and stay alive. It's kind of nice. It's like they're watching over me. So the map literally wants me to walk on this highway. So I just like jumped over this little barricade, and now I'm next to this housing development. And well, it's better than that, but not by much. Let's go to higher ground. The suburbs, man, you gotta love them. I don't know why, but I guess it's better than dreading them. Think positively. Think positively. Think positively. You see, I only brought one pair of shoes with me on this trip. And that's a good thing, because the only pair of shoes I brought with me are my non-slips. Which way do I go? There's that way, which doesn't really have a sidewalk, it's a highway. And there's that way, which could be illegal and might cause me to get very off track. I'll just keep talking to distract myself for now. But anyway, I like to pack really light when I do these trips. Last time I only brought like a regular size backpack, and this time same thing. I bring what I can wear with me on the plane, so my shoes, jacket, things like that, and then everything else goes in the backpack. And then I try not to leave with more than what I started with, so I can pack it up again. You know, I'm just gonna jump over this barricade. Anyways, so I have very grippy shoes. I did leave, my mom got me these like proper trail shoes with like mega grip soles, they're called. And they're really good for trails, but I left them with me because, like I said, I only bring one pair of shoes, which are the ones that I wear with me on the plane. And they're doing good with all this mud and water and the kitchen floor, obviously. So yeah. I hope you guys, oh my god, this is wet. Look at this. Okay. Yeah, hope you guys like the sound of the road noise, because, whoa, there's gonna be a lot more of it. Finally. Salvation. They're a little bit better. The thing about non-slips is that how they work is that they push liquid out of the treads of the shoes. So when the treads get full of solids, they really stop working very well. So you're still gonna have maybe the grip of the rubber or whatever, but it's not gonna do its non-slip thing, which is why I regularly hose down my shoes when I'm at work, because they get all like these crushed up fries and chicken and little things in them, and then they stop working, and then I start to feel like a little ballerina on some ice skates, and that's when I know I gotta hose off my shoes. Good way to get mud out of your shoes is to go on dry grass like this and and just kind of walk around in it, dig your soles into it. And it's the same reason why when I'm at the beach, I like to, if I have wet sand on my feet, I bury my feet in the sand and then I walk around in the sand. And it's because it might seem dumb because the dry sand is just going to stick to the wet sand, but then it's just drying it all out, so then all the sand becomes dry. And the dry sand doesn't stick to the feet in the same way. So that's why I'm trying to dry off all the mud so it turns to dirt, because mud is just dirt plus water. And then the dirt comes out easier because it's dry and it's brittle. Let's see how this works. It needs a little more runoff. You can tell whoever engineered this place did not expect anyone to walk from there to there, because there's no crosswalks, there's no sidewalks, there's barely even a shoulder. But here I am. I wonder if I'm the first one to walk from the Mall of Georgia to Lake Lanier. If you live in the Beaufort area, let me know if you've ever heard of anyone walking from there to there. It doesn't seem that crazy to want to walk from the mall to the lake, but clearly it was not designed for that purpose. You know, I just realized, I think it was the opposite. I think this place was designed for people and carriages to come and, you know, go from the city to the lake. And I think, or when automobiles were introduced, they said, no, roads are for cars now. And they just painted the lines and added the signs, and now I seem like a idiot to try to want to walk from here to there. But that's why there's no sidewalk, because roads used to be for pedestrians, and then cars came around, and now roads are for cars and pedestrians are an afterthought, at least in America, because America's so new that the infrastructure hadn't built up so densely like other places, you know, like Europe and Asia. And now we're left with this. So I'll be crazy. Because if crazy means taking the road, at least taken literally, then that's what I'm here for. This place has such an interesting climate because it's mostly evergreens everywhere you look. There's some other trees too, but as you can tell, it's mostly evergreens. And yet, it's weird because I hear that it doesn't really snow here very often, or that it's quite rare. And we're pretty close to the ocean too. So it's surprising that it has this like very, like all these evergreens and mostly just pine needles, and it's not very like lush. I mean, it is and it isn't. Because usually I associate evergreens with being in like a pretty desolate area like Lake Tahoe in California, which is, in the Sierra Nevada mountain range. It's pretty high elevation. There's a lot of snow. It's very dry. And yet here I find a similar looking climate, but I notice there's all of this moss on the trees here, which indicates the fact that it's a more humid climate. So it's just a very interesting contrast that we have here. These evergreens all speckled with moss, and if you look, it's like you can tell I'm in some kind of mountainous or rugged region, but then it's like pretty humid and it's pretty warm too, actually. It's like 55 degrees right now, which for it being the middle of January, not bad. And I looked on the map too, it's actually further south here than where I live in Sacramento, which is like probably on the map a few hours north, maybe even further than that. But this is much further south than where I live. And yet where I live, it's actually a little bit warmer. And that's probably because it's in a valley, so it kind of keeps in the heat. But I don't know, it's just interesting. I find it funny how sidewalks are just optional here. It's kind of, I technically live in the suburbs too right now, but it's very different because most of the stroads have sidewalks on them. And here, not really. It's a lot more rural here than where I live. Actually, speaking of that term strode, I learned this from this interesting video. So there's this channel called Not Just Bikes, and they make a lot of good videos about like urban infrastructure and like transportation infrastructure especially. And they made this video about stroads, and they explained what the difference between a street and a road is. And I'm just paraphrasing here, but they said that streets are a place to facilitate low speed traffic through neighborhoods and, commercial areas, things like that. Areas where there's a lot of pedestrians and bikers and things like that. You don't want cars going too fast. That's a street. And a road is, usually very wide, lots of lanes, highways, freeways, the Autobahn, things like that. Places that facilitate very high-speed traffic across long distances, between cities or countries and things like that. And a strode is a street and a road had a baby, strode. And basically, it's a road in the sense that it's pretty wide, has multiple lanes, and the cars are going at very high speeds. But then it's a street because it's going through an urban center with a lot of businesses. And it's basically the worst of both worlds. And the suburbs are just full of stroads. Like, even where I live, I can't even walk across the street from my apartment to the opposite side of the road because the cars are traveling at 50, 60 miles per hour. And it takes about 2 minutes for the crosswalk button to actually turn white and allow me to cross the street. So I either have two choices. Walk over to the crosswalk and wait, and then cross the street, which still isn't very safe because people can, turn right on a red light and, all that fun stuff. Or I can just try to jet across the street, which is extremely dangerous because of how fast they're going and how many lanes there are and how long it would take me to walk across the street or run across the street. So, yeah, I really want to live in Midtown. I love Midtown Sacramento. It's just amazing. You can walk anywhere. There's so many trees. All the traffic goes at a pretty low speed. It's not the best place for pedestrians in the world, but it's very nice. It's gorgeous. It's great. And it's where I want to live for the rest of my life. But it's also very expensive there because, it's California. We'll get there. We'll get there. getting very close. We're literally at the road that goes to the dam. So probably just another hour or less walking. Whoa, all the dirt just came off naturally. I didn't even have to beat it off. That's pretty cool. Now I go over yonder. These are so good. I know they're the same price as the larger cans, but they're just a better experience. I'd rather sip some great coffee than chug some good coffee or some okay coffee. And this one's not as loaded with sugar either. I don't know if it actually has, it only has 11 grams. I mean, it's a fair amount, but compared to the other guys, the other Starbucks one, they got like 20 something in them. So it's twice as much. Makes up for the lack of true flavor. Also, they had casinos, or not casinos, but slot machines like in there. And in California, they would never have that. Because I don't know what the gambling laws are exactly, but casinos need to be like dedicated buildings. And so you'll notice, so in South Lake Tahoe, it intersects. So half of it is in Nevada and half of it's in California. And State Line is an area of the city where, you know, you cross from one to the other. And on the Nevada side, in State Line, it's just a casino explosion. So you cross from one to another and they're like, you can gamble over here, guys. Like, that's the whole appeal of Reno to a lot of Californians, is that it's the closest city where you can go do a hell of gambling. You don't have to go all the way to Las Vegas. But of course, if you live closer to Las Vegas, then you just go there. But if you live in Northern California, you go to Reno. But I'm not into gambling. I don't find it fun. I don't know, when I gamble, I just feel like, I just know that it's so statistically unlikely that I'm gonna win that, I don't know, I just view the whole thing as like a thing of odds, you know? And I know the odds are stacked against me and that, you know, no matter what, I'm gonna lose in the end. So I don't even play, I don't find it fun. This jacket is just too much for this weather. That's why I keep putting it on or taking it off, because it's chilly, but this thing is good for like freezing temperatures. It's very well insulated. And you know, when it's freezing in the morning, it's great, but now it's like just a little too cold, a little too warm. Just keep going back and forth. The best part about coming out to the lake on foot is that usually to come to a lake, they charge you for the vehicle, not for the person. So I don't think I'll have to pay a fee. The sun sets in a couple hours, so I'm gonna kick rocks. I don't want to be walking in the dark. It was never about the destination. It's always about the journey. You know, for me, when I'm on these long walks, the way back is always the most emotional time, the most powerful time. Because the way there, I know that at any point, if I feel like it, I can just turn back around. And the longer I go, I keep getting further from home until eventually I get there. And I know I gotta go all the way back, you know? So it's like there's no backing out. I can't just go backwards or else I'm gonna go further from home, the hotel. And brings out a lot of feelings. Dang it. Atlanta's not as health conscious as Sacramento, but I finally managed to find some coconut water that's not full of sugar. Because I experienced the same thing in Florida. I'd go to gas stations, I'd look for coconut water. Most of them don't even have it. And I found one that did. And I found some again here, but it always has like sugar. It's like coconut juice. It's not coconut water. This one only has 2 grams. So it's basically just coconut water. And that's what I love. Don't add shit. Nature already made it perfect. The walk back feels faster than the walk there. And I think it's because I remember all the things that I've seen. And now this time I'm listening to a podcast. And so, you know, it's like, I don't know. The first time, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm at. I don't even really know why I'm going there. And then when I go back, I'm like, okay, gotta go home, you know. Different attitude, you know. It's less magical. I'm glad I brought this jacket because with no sunlight and a little bit of wind coming, temperatures dropping, it's starting to get a little bit chilly. But right around this corner,